Nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together till the grave. It's the game till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We got all in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey. I'm good. A little deep breath here. Nothing, little technical difficulties, just a few crashes. It's showtime. No problem. Deep breaths. We'll get through this. I need a new computer, man. Alright, I'm gonna have to speed up my process of building one. I thought I'd try to make it through severe weather season. I can't even make it through today. Alright, we got that out of the way. That's why there was a double live indication here, so sorry about that. But you guys did find the right place if you're here, so good job. Alright, so we're going to talk about the severe weather season coming up, or I should say more specifically the severe weather week I keep hearing about online. I'm going to tell you what the real deal is, so I'm going to do my best to calm the masses. And we'll talk about the winds today. My gosh, and the winds yesterday. I mean, it's been stupid, right? So currently, I've got, the temperature isn't that bad. It was actually pretty decent today, kind of cool, but not terrible. I'm at almost 58 degrees right now. The winds, of course, have been gusting up to around 35 or more still. Right now, there's like 16 miles per hour there. So we're going to get more gusts with that, and eventually we're going to get some more rain around here. But it's not going to happen for the first few days. We take a look at wind gusts that happened yesterday. This was, I think, as we talked last night, we were having them live, up around 60 miles per hour here. And then as I signed off the air, I think a few minutes later, we had a wind gust of 74 down here in southwest Oklahoma. That was nuts. And then the rest of today, same thing, same idea. Winds, especially in this little pocket here in southwestern quadrant of the state, the highest up around 60 to 70 miles per hour. Now keep in mind, a severe thunderstorm warning, the criteria for that is at 58 miles per hour. Why is that number picked? Well, that's just because that's where damage starts to occur. So we're talking about some wind damage from non-thunderstorm activity. Crazy, huh? Okay, so if you look currently, like we talked about, the winds are still gusting out of the northwest, so that colder, drier air still continues to kind of filter in. A little less on the colder, and of course a lot more on the drier. Now, we are going to have more winds tonight. Right now, the high-res model kind of paints it in this little quadrant of northwest Oklahoma, the Panhandle, into Texas, and the southwest Oklahoma again, where widespread 40, 50, even 60 mile per hour will occur. Here in central Oklahoma, it looks like a lot of the winds are gusting up to around 40 to 45, so kind of similar to yesterday. So the bigger pockets of the stronger winds are out to the west. Now, temperatures out there we talked about, they're a little cooler as a result, but a lot cooler up here north into the 40s across the northern counties. But this is the big deal. And a lot of times you hear me talk about the dew point temperature, and I get it. You're like, Aaron, I don't know what dew point means. You don't need to even know what, you don't need to know what it means. Just know the lower the number equals the drier the air. And the higher the number, the more moist the air. And we're talking about tornadoes. You want dew point around 60 or higher, usually, most cases. We're talking about winter or really dry, cracking your skin layer. Oh my goodness, you get dew points into the 20s, teens, or single digits or below. That's when that really starts to happen. But when you factor the temperature and the dew point together, you get this relative humidity. This is another way of looking at it. So again, let's go to the dew point map. You see these teens and 20s. There's some single digits out west. Especially look out here in the Panhandle where the dew point of -2. So relative humidity in that case is at 14%. So it kind of gives you the idea the lower the number correlates to a lower relative humidity. And you're more used to hearing that term thrown around. But when it comes to geeky weather stuff, I got to use dew point because that's what I used to forecast with. That storms don't care about relative humidity. They care about the dew point temperature. Now, what it will do, and here's a little sneak peek here over the next few days, watch how these dry numbers just anchor here across Oklahoma and the surrounding areas. I mean, all the way up through, this is going through Friday night into Saturday morning, all the moisture kicked down to the Gulf of Mexico. So what's what we call bone dry. If I were to do this to, let's see, is that going to work? Let's try click. Oh, it's not going to let me do a forecast sounding. Oh, so rude. I was going to, oh, here's one. It just didn't come in time. So let's click, trying to find one that's really dry. We'll go out here in the west to kind of give you an idea what that looks like. This is just for an example. Okay, I've shown you this before, and we'll show you this again tonight when it comes to storms. But the red line is temperature, the green line is dew point, and the farther apart they are, the drier it is. And look at the surface. This is at the surface, 2-degree dew point, 59-degree air temperature. Oh my goodness! I mean, this ridiculousness of the dry air, and that dry air continues all the way up the columns. That means you get no clouds, no rain, no storms, no nothing. So this is kind of a dry winter type pattern. So very unusual for us to have it this time of the year. What also comes with this is colder temperatures at night because the dew point is drier air, and with clear skies and light winds, you can really get those numbers to fall. So we're talking about tomorrow morning, and look at this, at 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, that's typically where your temperature is going to be the coldest for the day. You have pockets of a lot of 40s out there, some 30s up around Stillwater, in the low-lying valleys, 36 degrees, 35 up here in northern Oklahoma, 34, 35. So we talked about this, that Thursday, or for Friday, actually Thursday we didn't actually talk about it. It's kind of snuck in here. We talked about Friday and Saturday morning being the coldest, but this is a sneak preview just tomorrow morning. So your plants should be okay in this environment with the winds and all. But let me see what it goes here. What can we do here for Friday morning? What do we got? Oh yeah, there it is. See these blue areas? That's pockets of temperatures below freezing, 29, 30 degrees down here in southwest and western Oklahoma, and of course the Panhandle on into Texas. So if you got tender vegetation, that just doesn't do well, you need to cover them up or bring them in. Now on Saturday morning it should be even colder. Let's see, does this model go out that far? Oh, it stops at 2 because the data hasn't finished coming in. Oh, it stinks. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, you already have temperatures below freezing in Ponca City area in northern Oklahoma. Here in southeastern Kansas, it only gets colder from there. So just to let you know, Saturday morning is going to be cold. A lot of freeze, a lot of frost for many. I'll get to this map. I'll come back to it here as the data keeps coming in. But right now we'll focus on the severe weather. So I've seen some posts online. This one guy on Twitter already called it a historical event outbreak. And I'm just like, already 8 days away and you're calling this an historical event. Do you know what the word historical means? Memorable. Something so of a high magnitude that will not be forgotten in decades to come. So I made a post on Twitter and then showed it to you on Facebook. I don't like historical level. To me, that's just overplayed, it's overused, and I threw out some other terms I liked. It was all in jest, of course. If you'd like a little laugh, you can go visit that post. I won't get into it here. But needless to say, I made fun of the whole idea because it's stupid. Can we not just get storms around here without making every mountain a molehill? Or making every molehill a mountain, whichever may be. All right, so let's go on with the time. We'll show you what's going to happen. So let's take a look at the jet stream pattern. Let's just use the European model just to kind of give you the idea. So, by the way, right now what's causing the dry air and the cold front, this little guy right here, the little area, upper level low pressure center, this is hanging across the northern plains and Great Lakes, and that's what's getting us into a northerly flow aloft, which brings in that colder air, big ridge out west. So when we talk about a trough and a ridge, this would be the big upper low here, so it's what we call the troughiness. Here's the ridge, so just so you know, the air flows up and over a ridge and then back down into a trough. So you get your inclement weather along the trough axis, so that means all your storms and stuff and rain are in this section. The ridge, you get nothing. You get sunshine, you get nice temperatures, sometimes you get heat if it's in the summer. So anyway, we'll move this on with time. You can see that ridge breaks down and out to the west by Monday afternoon and evening. What do we have here? Well, we've got an upper low developing out here across the west, and we're now getting into kind of a developing southwest flow aloft. Now, most of the energy, most of the lift, as you can see, is not in Oklahoma. So it's not quite here. Now, this is Monday evening. This is the first day of the storm system. Supposedly it's going to be rocking us, right? So you have to take everything a grain of salt until the details are shown in the operational deterministic runs. And right now, they're not showing anything too exciting. But we'll give it time, and they'll eventually kind of come around and paint a picture, and then we'll see what that picture is going to be. So here's Tuesday evening, for example. We're still in this southwesterly flow aloft, and that's usually what you need to get some storms in here, as long as the cap isn't too strong. The low is still anchored out here across the Four Corners region, and that's going to be where the inclement lift is. I mean, if it was cold enough, and it might be in some areas of the Rockies, you might get a little snow out of that deal. You get those strong upper systems here for springtime. Okay, so we'll go on to Wednesday. Here's Wednesday afternoon. The system is kicking through the Central Plains. Now here is the leading edge of the upper level vorticity, leading edge of the lift in the atmosphere. Now this is coming at 7 o'clock. So what happens is if we're capped and we're waiting for storms to fire, by the time they do fire, they're going to be kind of in this section here, right? So they won't be in western or maybe even in central Oklahoma. So that just means that only Monday and Tuesday have potential of seeing some storms here for Oklahoma City out west. East, you still have another chance from, say, Tulsa southward here for Wednesday as the system moves on through. So it's kind of like 2.5 days if you split the state in half. And then as we go forward in time, we get into this westerly zonal flow. And it doesn't necessarily do much for us because it looks like the Gulf is going to be shut down. So what do I mean by that? I'm going back to that dew point map. All right, so you knew there's a method to my madness. All right, so again, the purples is the dew points in the 70s. That's the juicy area you need to get severe weather. So where is it? Well, right now, it's where it's supposed to be. But let's see what happens with it. Oh, it's getting shoved way down there. Oh my goodness, the Gulf of Mexico is drying out. We're going to evaporate all the water down there. Dew point values across the entire country into the single digits or teens or 20s or 30s. This is, come on, man. This is April 9th on this map. Unbelievable kind of crazy weather pattern. I mean, shutting down all the severe weather. But look what happens. Get this return of moisture that comes in here. And I'm going to stop. Let's see, there's Sunday afternoon. So it's trying to come in. We got dew points in the 40s and 50s. Okay, so now here we go. Here's the deeper stuff. See those 60s coming in? So here's Monday afternoon, and there they go. Now they're coming in with a nice little tongue. We call this a tongue or a theta E axis, just a big moisture axis that comes in. But you can see where kind of the axis lies, right? It's over western Arkansas and far eastern Oklahoma. So our dew points here in central Oklahoma on Monday afternoon aren't that great, man. Low 50s. That's kind of a marginal severe weather event with that versus like a big decent tornado type event, just on the part of the ingredients. And there's got to be several, but this is just one of them. So anyway, point being is eastern Oklahoma is better equipped to seeing some storms versus, of course, out west. This is a mean of the ensemble run, so this is kind of our best picture right now. We're going this far long term. Okay, so what happens as we head into Tuesday? All right, there's Tuesday morning. It tries to come west a bit, but then, once again, it gets shoved to the east. Now, this is 48 degrees. This is Oklahoma City, right here in the middle. This is the I-35 corridor that runs right here through Dallas. You can see everything's still east of that boundary. So, man, western Oklahoma, I mean, I know normally you guys get the dry line, you get all the action, and it comes east. All the action is going to start east and go east the way this is going. All right, let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday's even worse. Dew point value of 30, bone dry here in Oklahoma City. Tulsa 46, gonna be hard to get storms with that. Far eastern Oklahoma and Arkansas again, probably the place to be for Wednesday afternoon. Again, assuming nothing changes, which is still a big assumption considering the fact that today is Wednesday and we're talking about next Wednesday. All right, so what happens after this little mini potential severe weather event as I go through time? The Gulf shut down, guys. I mean, every storm chaser is crying in his beer. Every severe weather fanatic is crying in his beer. Everybody who just loves damage, destruction, and awesomeness of, the adrenaline rushing, whatever, are all crying in their beer. Because this is the most pathetic mid-April pattern I think I've ever seen. All right, so there you go. So if you really want reality, I just gave it to you whether you like it or not. So we got to put all this in perspective, right? Now let's take a look at the European model for Monday. All right, so I'm going to try to pick the best severe weather event I got here for you. All right, so here we got some good Cape values and good shear values. So right now on paper, at the lower levels, this looks pretty good. So I'll pick like around the north, and let's see what the sounding looks like. Okay, so this is what we have to work for. Again, this is going to change, of course, but this kind of gives us just a peek at so far how the pattern's setting up. So right now it's got a classic supercell structure, but a huge problem. It's got it could be what could be a slight weakness in the 4 to 6 kilometer range in this region, the mid levels of the atmosphere. If these winds drop off too weak, the storm updrafts will collapse and the storm can't hold on long term. And without a long-term storm, supercell type formation, you can't get the tornadoes to develop. So you get a lot of pockets of damaging wind bursts and your typical otherwise garden variety thunderstorms here in Oklahoma. Now with this, the shear is okay. It's not overly impressive, so the tornado parameter risk is pretty low here on the scale. There's also quite a bit of dry air still hanging around at various levels that's mixed out. And so that kind of gives slightly higher cloud bases. So this, looking at Monday, if you were to take this as is, in other words, let's say the atmosphere never changed, the European knows exactly what's happening, this is a marginal severe weather event, not a huge outbreak of historic level proportions. So that kind of goes to show you what's on the table. Because we're looking at real data. We're not going to wish cast here. We're not going to pretend. We're not going to hope. So let's go on to Tuesday. Let's see what Tuesday's doing. So Tuesday's got what appeared to be a lot more moisture, but that moisture mixed out. Let me stop it at 7. Okay, so let's go Oklahoma City, and then we'll go, for example, Tulsa. Let's see what we're working with here in Oklahoma City. Same idea. High cloud bases. Shear is okay for severe storms, not necessarily tornadoes. Weakness in the mid-levels of the atmosphere to allow these storms to collapse. A lot of dry air involved, so there's a lot of pockets of damaging wind. As usual, probably going to be a little hail here and there. Even not that, the hail isn't even that impressive. So I'm just telling you, if everything were to stay exactly as, say, the Europeans said, it's not that big of a deal. But if we look into northeast Oklahoma, let's go to Tulsa. Let's see if anything's changed for them. Okay, the possible hazard type, this says it all. Marginal severe. Marginal severe. Even the model thinks it's marginal severe. So what do you do in this particular case? So we just showed you a couple examples of what reality may be, right? So in that particular case, oh, and this is the summation of that, by the way. So remember, if you pick everything east of I-35 based off the European model, then you can see how most of the accumulating rain is really from Tulsa north and south, draw a line, and points east for really good, decent rain. That means central and western Oklahoma, there's not much to write home about. Now let's go to the American model, the GFS. It has everything a little bit more west. In other words, all the ingredients, probably a little bit better shear, better moisture, over Oklahoma City and then points east. So it kind of backs it up a little bit. And which model is going to be correct? We don't know yet. It's too far out. We know the pattern, similar setup, but I'm just telling you the devil's in the details, and these type of details you don't get to know until about 72 to 48 hours out. And that's when I like to talk about tornadoes is right about 48 hours out, because that's when I get the best information to work with. If you blend all the models together, and this takes into account a few others, look where it puts all the rain for this event. So what does that tell you? This tells you that there's going to be a lot of dry air and a lot of nonsense going on across western, central, even parts of eastern Oklahoma with all the storm activity in that theta E axis area over far eastern Oklahoma and into Arkansas. So this could easily verify. That's what I'm saying. So when you go out and you see these posts on the internet, you guys are getting all worked up and you send me messages and you're all panicking. I'm giving an example why you shouldn't panic. There's too much discrepancy. There's too much variability. There's too much nonsense in the data. All right, so that is the long-term look. Temperature-wise, we got 70s and 80s coming up here for the weekend, so that's looking pretty good. Overnight lows getting a little bit warmer. My Bermuda grass is already starting to grow, so it's going to really love these few days. And then even after this system moves through next week, overnight lows get chilly again, but not too bad. And daytime highs is actually pretty pleasant. So what we got to get rid of, get through, is Friday morning. We're going to be in the probably upper 30s here in central Oklahoma, so a little patchy frost if the winds die down. And then on Saturday morning, I don't know. We might have a freeze here in parts of central Oklahoma. That's what I'm going with. It's what I've been going with for a while. I'm not going to change it. This number has been kind of holding in the mid-30s in the model data for quite a while now, so it hasn't really budged. So if you have any tender vegetation, you'll need to cover it up or bring it in for Saturday morning for sure across the body of Oklahoma. Otherwise, look at that rebound, 77 degrees. That is so nice. Okay, let's go real quick to the temperatures on the flat panel. Remember, they hadn't finished coming in yet, so we'd come back to that. So let's just see what they did here. Oh, there you go. Let's see. There's 7 o'clock in the morning. So see all the blue areas? Those were all 20s and 30s. So that's hard to hit. Hardest hit area then looks like to be around this part of Oklahoma. Okay. Of course, you get Kansas in the mix there. And then you get these little low-lying valleys here in southwestern Oklahoma. So this is a big low-lying valley freeze for Saturday morning. Hills, cities, usually are protected somewhat from that, from the urban heat island, etc. So right now, like this model has Oklahoma City at 40, but that's pretty silly because there'll be look, I mean, here's a temperature of 31 degrees. Like if I were to zoom in and go to Piedmont. So that's a huge difference. This is for the airport reading of 40, whereas Piedmont says 31. So obviously there's going to be places all in and around town pretty close to freezing or below. So just make sure you've got that in the back of your head. Don't forget when you go to bed Friday night. Okay. That was a lot to talk about, right? Okay, so let me look at a couple of your comments, and hope that was helpful, by the way. When we talk about these long-term severe weather type setups. The wind wreck down here by the Wichitas, I'm telling you, YouTube, it's ridiculous. I mean, out of control wind. That's probably our windiest day I think we've seen, and that was just from a cold front. So that was nuts. On Facebook, by the way, thank you for the stars. So sending those tonight. Appreciate you. Let's see. What about southeastern Oklahoma? Poto, Courtney. Yep, you're in the storm zone. You have a better probability of seeing severe weather than about half the state. So, Mark, in layman's terms, explain the wind. It's layman's is difficult for wind. Pressure gradient force. Go Google that. Trust me. Just go Google pressure gradient force. And it's from sucking and blowing. And that's their easiest explanation. But you're going to want to Google that word and that will help out. Oh my goodness, Henry. Yeah, you need to file. I can't believe those words came out of her mouth. I'd put her in a timeout is what I would do. I wouldn't quite file yet. I'd give her one more chance to get her act together. But if she were to say that again, I don't know, man. Those are fighting words. I'd probably say listen to a meteorologist is what I would say. Read into that how you will. Okay, Sherry. Here and there will be F3 to F5 outbreaks Monday. Of course. That's what the storm community wants. They want that. I will tell you this is very hard. Kia. It is very hard to get a EF 4 or 5 tornado. Almost nearly impossible, just so you know that. Even 3s are hard. 0s, piece of cake. 1s, pretty good, easy. 2s are difficult. 3s, extremely difficult. And then 4 and 5, they're almost on 10-year cycles. In other words, it almost takes that long to get one. Ron, I hear you, man. I'm going to need an adult beverage after today. A lot of things go on behind the scenes. You guys have no idea. It's over here just pulling what hair I have left out of my head. Misty, so late to the party she missed it all, is asking about a toga. So, probably. Oh, Matt, appreciate you, brother. You just subscribed as a Facebook fan subscriber, and Facebook just told me on the thing. So that's kind of neat. So Facebook's doing better at letting me know what happens. But thanks for being a subscriber. Here's your chance, by the way, to join. You can hit the description in this video right now at any point in time. You can click on there and you get support and donation options. And on the support and side, you can join as a Facebook fan subscriber. You can do Patreon. You can do YouTube. Has got subscriptions. So There's a lot of ways where you can help support AT's weather to give you calm, cool, collected, hype-free, anxiety-free weather information, kind of like tonight when everybody's screaming gloom and doom. I'm going to give it to you straight, and you're going to be really disappointed because you're probably in the deep back of your mind hoping for gloom and doom, and I came out here and bursted your bubble. So what we do here, just so you know, April's so lost. Oh, you got to be on time. Okay, you know what? I'm glad you said that, April. Right now, I'm not giving you a choice. I'm giving you a command. That's right. Do this. I just posted a link. Okay? There it goes. I want you to click on that link. It is an opt-in. Wait a minute. That's not the right link. No, it's not the right link. I clicked on the wrong one. Ah, my bad. Although you can click on that link. That is good. No, where is the link I wanted? Oh, it's this one. So that's on me. All right, you can click that one, but click on this one. This is what I want you to click on. All right, so you see that? It says weather updates. All right, you're like, well, what's weather updates? You're watching one, and you're late to the party. So what happens is, if you click this, I send you an instant message from your Facebook Messenger directly to you, and I let you know before I go live that we're going live. And by the time it sends out, I'm probably either just now going live or I'm just seconds away. Usually how that works out. So that way you will never miss a broadcast, number one. And number two, you'll never be late to the party. So click on that link. And that goes for anyone else having trouble, like April did, coming in late. That will make sure that you're always on time. So check that out. It's a little workaround that I did since Facebook stinks at what it's supposed to do. I'm going to design this platform that notifies people that their person that they follow goes live. Oh, maybe I won't. And then maybe I'll do it late when it's already over. I don't know who's writing that code, but they need to be excused. And a new person needs to come in. So anyway, I wrote my own code, so I bypassed that nonsense. So you can click on that, and that'll get you going. By the way, Keith, I see you with some stars. And you got thumbs up, so good. I don't want to see you coming in late anymore. So April's good to go now. And the rest of you folks, be like April. Sign up on that link to opt in, and that way you won't miss the live. And it's going to be important. You won't miss them when I do go live, because some next week could be busy, or it could be very quiet, or it could be normal. Any of those things. It's still too early. So what we do is every night, we're getting closer to that window, right? So this is Wednesday. So we'll do a live. I think I can do a live every night if need be. And I'll probably do a couple of lunchtime lives. We'll see. I think I can do it. Wait, what is today? Today's Wednesday, so I only got Thursday and Friday. So yeah, I can do a live on one of those days, maybe Friday. But anyway, each one will start to detail as most as I can detail with the weather data on how the event's going to set up, what's it looking like. I'll tell you what the pattern is missing, what's not ideal. And here's a summation of that, by the way, real quick. And this goes for all storm seasons, any storm event. All right, there's so many things that can go wrong, and I've seen people get all worked up in my field, get all excited, and have to go and cry in a corner because nothing happened. It was a bust. So it's because they get overworked and they ignore what's in front of them. So what can happen that can mess up an event? Well, the first thing is the track of the system could not be in the ideal location. It could be a little bit too far to the north, right? So we don't get the best jet dynamics aloft. We get a cap that builds in that's too strong, can't break. That happens a lot, both of those cases. You can have weak winds come in around mid-levels, like 500 millibar level, versus a speed max, which would help to enhance thunderstorm growth and development in long-term life cycles. You can have the opposite of that, which kills it. You can have shear that is okay, meaning it's linear, so more squall line and line echo wave type stuff, meaning mini squall lines, which can produce those little QLCS type tornadoes, little baby tornadoes I talk about. So you can have that in these type of events versus a nice spiral case profile. You can have a weakness in some of those winds at different levels, including the surface. That's a problem. You can have a surface wind of 5 knots. If you want a tornado, believe it or not, a 5-knot surface wind will prevent that from happening. That's how serious this is. And you're going to ask me, okay, are winds going to be 5 knots on Monday afternoon and evening? Right now, believe it or not, the model they looked at said yes. So will that happen? It's too far away. They're not going to be that good. But that's just an example of another weakness, right? Okay, so you got the cap, you got the shear that can be bad. The Cape values
may not be all that great. They may be kind of high toward the morning, and that air mixes out during the day because the air in the atmosphere from sunrise to sunset will mix out. In other words, it just, think of a dryer, right? Your clothes are tumbling in the dryer. Same thing with the atmospheric circulations from the surface. From daytime heating from the ground, heats up the earth, all that kind of stuff. So that circulates the air and it mixes it all up. So it mixes out that good deep moisture, and now it's just kind of universally spread on out, and now we don't have the deep moisture anymore. So that can happen, and that happens a lot. Sometimes you can get storms that form in the morning, leave a nice little cloud shield, and therefore it reduces the instability for the rest of the day. Therefore we don't get our second round of storms. You can have storms that form in North Texas, for example, and you can have that air trajectory move to the north in the environmental flow. There's whatever goes up must come down. So if there's rising air, there has to be sinking air. Well, guess what that is? On the north end of those storms, we get sinking air, which comes in, moves across Oklahoma. What that does is, it is a downburst effect of a drying things out, which means it lowers our humidity and dew point values. Well, all of a sudden, that just killed storm development. So these are all little intricate things that you may not even know are coming or even there prior to 24 hours out. And any one of these can mess things up because you have to have the most perfect ingredients for all this stuff to go historical level. So that's why 8 days out, anybody says historical level is a fool, and I have fun at their expense because it's just dumb. Now, could we have a historical level severe weather event? Yeah, we can have one in 2022. We can have one in 2023. We can have one in 2024. That's ridiculous. So a broken clock is right once or twice a day, depending on if it's analog or digital. So I don't know how you'd get a broken digital. So I guess this could be a broken digital. The battery would die. But, I guess it could freeze. Yeah, the code could go bad and it's just stuck on the time. So yeah, I guess it could happen. So anyway, those are just some of the things, just so you know what happens behind the scenes that can mess what looks like an ideal, perfect scenario of severe weather. And a few of those get mixed in there, nothing. I can give you an example where a few years ago, everybody was going Armageddon here in Oklahoma. I mean, Katie barred the doors, we're not going to make it, we're all doomed. I mean, it was the most overhyped for I think 3 days in a row. They showed a model which had supercells everywhere. And I was the only one that says, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we got a lot of other things going against us. Now, you want to talk about testicular fortitude to go out on that kind of a limb when the rest of your peers are saying the opposite? Whoa. So, but I'm not one of those to shy away from a challenge. So I took it on. And guess what? In their mind, it was a bust. In my mind, it was the correct forecast. So those things do happen. So when they do, just check in with me. I'm going to shoot it to you straight. I'm going to tell you what's missing or what's not there. And if it looks like everything is there and it's textbook-wise, should happen, I'm going to tell you it's going to should happen. And we'll see. But I'm not going to call for a historical event 8 days away. I might call for a historical event the day of, if it looks like everything is perfect and ideal and I'm 100% confident. But beyond that, it's just silly. So, but today's day and age, you got to hype up everything. It's so over the top. Everything's over the top. Weather just happens to fit that bill really well, which is kind of irritating, but whatever. One of these days, I'm going to go find a bubble. I'm going to live in it, and the rest of the world's going to crash and burn, and I'm going to be so happy in that bubble. I mean, so happy. I don't know, whoever coined ignorance is bliss, they knew. They knew it from the depths of their soul. So I'm going to do ignorance is bliss in a giant bubble, and that's it. So if I ever disappear one day, that's what happened to me, just so you know. All right, that's it for me. That's all I want to talk about tonight. If you missed the interview with Jamie Ferguson from Ferguson Roof Systems, go back and watch that. It's about 30 minutes. And it is loaded with all kinds of roofing questions, from the best roofs, difference between metal and shingles, and what kind of shingles, hail, wind, insurance companies, deductibles,
should you get it inspected by more than one person? What about out-of-state people? What about licenses? We cover all of that. So if you ever have any questions over your roofing, when it comes to getting one, or you need one, or you're close to one, you might want to check that out, because it will give you everything you need to know. So it's not often you get to talk directly to the owner of a roofing company and have him be 100% right in your face, full context, and be 100% truthful. And Jamie is that way. I love him for it. And so we just threw every question. I didn't lie. There's not a single question he shied away from. He answered them all. So you want to check that out. It's in this video below this post. It's also on my YouTube channel. That's it for me. I'm going to get out of here and get some sleep. I'll be watching the weather, obviously, over the next few days. Just, you have a little anxiety, just take a deep breath. You'll be all right. And just check in off and on, and I'll give you the real deal. All right. Get out, everybody. Take care.